Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, was a known triple agent for the CIA, MI6, and the KGB. Most of this video, by the way, is from the files. The other information is supplemented from things that we already know. It's suggested in the files that Robert Maxwell is the one that recruited Jeffrey Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell also said that Donald Trump and her father were friendly. She met Trump for the first time in 1990, but Trump and her father knew each other before then. In 1991, Robert Maxwell bought the New York Daily News, and him and Trump continued to grow closer at the top of the New York power circle. Robert Maxwell then mysteriously dies off the coast of the Canary Islands in 1991. And in the files, it suggested that Israeli intelligence became very concerned about Maxwell's erratic behavior. Ghislaine then starts to use her father's reputation to move into high society circles. And she slowly used those connections to embed Jeffrey Epstein, including with Donald Trump. And then Epstein begins his rise. And it seems like we can imply in all this that Israel preferred Epstein to Maxwell at this point. And Epstein and former Prime Minister Barak met over 60 times while Barak was the defense minister of Israel. And an FBI informant says that this is when Epstein was trained as a spy. He also develops a relationship with CIA Director William Burns. They stayed in contact until 2014, long after Epstein was convicted. Epstein was also connected to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Vitaly Churkin, the permanent representative to the UN. Now, Epstein got his sweetheart deal in 2007 from then Attorney General Alex Acosta under George W. Bush. And this deal was so good that it prevented any charges to co-conspirators. Acosta says that he did this because he was told that Epstein was an intelligence asset and above his pay grade. This is the deal that's been consistently criticized by both sides, except for one person, Marco Rubio. Rubio is a longtime friend of Acosta and defended his reputation as late as 2017. He advocated for Acosta to get into the Trump administration. Now, I think what we're looking at here is the reason that presidents age quickly. They become aware, if they weren't already, of the darkest but most powerful network of criminal enterprises there are. They either full on do the bidding of these people, they ignore them and maybe even protect them legally to keep themselves safe, or they don't survive. It's also probably one of the many reasons that we'll get that intelligence about stopping that thing at the expense of children's lives. We just didn't know that part. I would imagine that Marco Rubio is probably scared shitless every day. And there seems to be two main sources of political corruption in the U.S. in all this, and that's New York and Florida. So I would imagine all of the best assets of U.S. organized crime are involved as well. This is so big that I don't see any way around just completely starting over. And we have to do it with overwhelming momentum, because if anybody is left on an island, they're going to be gone. I know the world that most of these Republicans come from because I was in it, and I can promise you that they may think they were ready for what they're involved in now, but they weren't, and they are scared. And that fear makes them complicit. I hope at some point we get enough leaders that are willing to take that risk.